Hello and welcome to Voices of Parenting podcast. I am so glad you're here. My name is Mussi Diskin. I am an advanced nurtured heart approach trainer. I am a parenting coach. I am also an inner wealth coach, which means that I help people rediscover and connect to the people that they truly were all along, but may have gotten forgotten along the way. So to find out more about me and what I offer, you can check out mussydiskin.com, contact me through there, respond to this podcast, find me on social media. I would love to connect and I would love to hear your feedback. To sponsor a Voices of Parenting podcast episode, please reach out to energizinghearts@gmail.com. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello, my dear audience. I am here again with Heather Meyers. If you haven't heard our first recording, please go back and listen to get to know who Heather is and her journey of her professional journey, anyways, of how Nurtured Heart has played a part in what she's offering to the world. Heather, I said this off the camera, but I'm going to say it again. I feel so nourished and calm and soothed by your energy. There's something so gracious and spacious about what you embody and who you are and what you bring. And it's beautiful. And especially you were describing a little bit in the last recording about your brain versus your spirit. Maybe that's where we'll go. Maybe that's what this conversation will be about. I don't know. We had so many topics, guys, that we wanted to lean into, and we're just going to go with the flow and see what happens next. But that dichotomy of a brain that wants to follow the rules and a brain that wants to have everything planned out and figured out and know, and the spirit of trust and the spirit of presence and the spirit of knowing that everything is just as it needs to be, and there's so much to receive if we can just be here. I feel that spirit in you. And I guess I want to honor you for your accomplishment. I don't know you from 20 years ago or whenever, but I can tell you that your spirit is 100% here with me in this screen. That's all I feel. I don't feel that brain. I don't know what you're doing to be here, but I know that what I feel is absolute here-ness. And it's so nourishing. Like you said, it's like I feel heard and I feel seen and I feel together. It's more heard and seen. I feel together. I feel like we're together, and that feels so good. So thank you for giving me this gift of being here. And where shall we go? What's
I'm mutually appreciating the space and the honoring of truly being in the present moment.
Yeah.
To have that wholeness in our dialogue here. That's lovely. It's so easy to be fragmented. That's what our brain does. It wants to fragment us everywhere.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the approach is how it can bring us to the moment, to not miss the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that there's also a part of agenda that plays in, and I think that also applies to how the approach works in an outward way as well, is that we need to get to where we need to get to. We need to be what we need to be. There's a need. And in doing that, we miss out on the opportunity of what already is, what already exists, what's already here, and the connection that can be built through that. And I don't know what will be, what will be will be. But I know that being here right now is the fullness of what's being offered. So here I am, and somehow it all falls into place from there.
You have me thinking, about our brain, what our brain tells us, versus what our heart when we're embodying the spirit of who we are, or which is I think an ongoing discovery, should we so choose that adventure. That so much of what happens in our brain comes from that have to doing should, all of those things. Or oftentimes we don't even know we're operating from that fight or flight place. And a lot of times even the fight or flight can come from that place of love, like, with your kids. I love them so much I have to, but the fear and the love get a little enmeshed. To be able to take that energy and, like, almost like sift it through, where it, like, the fear energy, like, I see you, I acknowledge you, but we can't bypass whatever the voice of our brain says when it's like, nah, 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 nah. Well, I can't, should I, yeah, all the things that it does. That, okay, can I take the energy from that and bring it to this heart space? Can I take the breath of, becoming the moment of who I am, so that this brain is in service to the truth of who I am, so that we can filter what's up here, out. That we need our brain, but our brain all on its own, it's got lots of programs that it runs on auto because it wants to keep us safe. It wants to keep our loved ones safe. In the way of, oh, I'm not going to energize the negativity of what that brain can do. I'm going to use that energy, and I'm going to allow that to nurture the spirit. Let me remember who I really am and how I really want to show up. Can I be intentional to show up with the particular qualities that I really want to give? Like, if I think back on, what we were speaking about as far as, being a leader and growing, there's the rules that need to be followed, and that creates safety and structure in and of itself. So, having rules are important. And then what I call kind of dancing on the rules, like, how do you create the blend? Well, it's like, okay, can you take all that stuff and use it, to kind of take the pole down from up here and see through the lens of the heart. And for me, there's no choice in, like, the things that I feel I have no choice, like, it's what I am here for, I have no choice. Those are the things I break the rules on. But I do it in a way where I'm still within the bounds to take those baby steps intentionally. Like, in the the moments of, I need to hone in on that I am courageous, or that I am brave, or that I am fiercely loving, and know that this person can do these things, or this child can do these things, and I am going to find that way to light that up in them. But I can't get all hung up in all this or what everybody's thinking. And what I call that is, there's the difference of being in the vertical versus the horizontal. In the approach, we talk about, being the creator, right? We're behind the camera. We're the ones being behind the camera. That's not the brain running the show. If the brain's running the show, we're actually in the drama, and then we're in the horizontal. But if we're in the vertical, we're in the, if we take it from the heart of the universe to the heart of who we are, to the heart of the earth, like, that was what I call the vertical. But if we can be behind the camera and choosing the perception and choosing what we're going to edit and do versus getting caught up, that's a very powerful difference in supporting how to, like, okay, little brain, like, and the brain might be a little anxiety. It might be a little bit of what are other people going to think. It might be even a moment of being completely frozen and stuck. Like, and what do you do to be here?
Yeah. I think for me, my brain wants answers. It wants solutions. It wants to know the fix. And so that's the question that comes to challenge me, is like, but what are you going to do about it? But what's going to happen about it? But how are we going to make it better? But it's not okay, but we need to fix it, And I think coming to the brain with, like, well, this is the answer, or trying to find answers, or the brain is, like, still in the drama. It's still, like you said, like, is playing the brain game that I don't have that capacity. My brain is brilliant. My brain is fast. My brain is so good at analyzing, is so good at finding the problems and the holes in every solution. It's way better than me in that to that. Like I'm not going to beat it, you know? But I think my answer is I don't have any answers, sweetie. Like I don't know. You're right. You're right. You're right. Like all those things are scary. All those things are big. All those things are probably wrong and bad too. You know, like you're right. I don't know, but I choose to be here with you anyways. Because I don't have any solutions, or despite the fact that I have no solutions, I just want to be here with you. So that's where I'm going to be. And it's just this like choosing trust over choosing answers, I guess, maybe. I don't know if I've ever phrased it that way before, but right now that's what it feels like it is. Choosing, because running after the answers and trying to figure it all out compromises too much of what I really want and care about. You're talking about finding what my heart wants and what my values are and what those apps, like I will break the rules to get there places. Like I just know that this is what I'm here for. I'm here to be here. I'm here to see. I'm here to see others. I'm here to connect. I'm here to nurture. Like I can't compromise that. So I don't have any answers for all the things my brain is telling me that I'm ignoring, you know? Like you're right. And I don't know. Like I don't have the answers, and but that's going to have to be okay, because right here right now I'm choosing to be right here and right now. Because running ahead of myself away from that is too much of a compromise, is too much of a risk, it's too much of a loss. I'm losing out on what's available. I feel like actually with developmental disabilities, you were talking about how you spent a lot of time still um, I'm not sure how much you still do in your private practice with that, but it sounds like that's something that's always been near and dear to you. Um, the the idea that we're doing a disservice to the community of developmental disabilities to not like somehow mold them into regular people, like to make them normal, quote unquote, to make them be like everyone else, to make them do the things that everyone else does. Well, whether or not it would enhance their life and make things easier for them. And unfortunately, I would say a big part of it is easier for others. I think that's really where a lot of it comes from. A lot of the pressure, but regard, even if we're gonna, lean into the service of the client, service of them, even if it would make their life easier, again, when there's that agenda that will only be there when we get there. It's only okay once you've accomplished this goal, once you've aced this test, once you've gotten this down pat, once you can do this behavior 100% of the time, or 80% of the time even, but like you've got to learn this behavior, and until you learn this behavior, until you do this, until you stop doing that, you're not there yet, and we have to push you more. We're missing out on that beauty that you felt right away when you started working with these people. Is who are you? What do you bring? What's your gift? What's your greatness? Who are you? And everyone's a you. Everyone's an am. Everyone's an I am. Everyone has. And am I willing to risk not knowing about that, about others and myself, and missing out on all the enormous inner wealth and enormous greatness and enormous beauty and connection that exists in the here and now for the sake of some future goal that either will or won't happen? And at the loss of so much relationship and so much connection and so much beauty. It's like, it's not right or wrong. This is what my heart wants. I want to be here with you, whoever you are, and I want to be here with me, and I want to own who I am. So, and I relate to what you're saying also about the head and the heart, and that process being probably the most transformative gift of Nurtured Heart for me, learning who my heart is, where it is, how to find it, how to hear it. Howard talks about that. I think like Howard Glasser, the creator of Nurtured Heart approach, in the CTI that I went to, this certification training intensive, I think it was the very first meeting before the CTI even started, where he shared about listen with your heart, see with your heart, right? Like hear what your heart says. I'm not sure the exact line. Um, but like, whoa, like, wow, how, what, where, when, like, what is that? You know, my brain's been doing all the leading, and my brain's really smart. So, you know, it's gotten me here, you know. But that at the end of the last recording, we talked about authenticity and inner authenticity and finding who we are and then deeper who we are, even deeper and then even deeper, and how there are so many layers to that. And I think that if I was to say, you said like you were curious and you wanted to lean more into that. If I were to say what that looks like for me or how I would describe the process of finding that, it's stopping to think about where I need to get to and what needs to happen and how it needs to happen, stopping to follow the brain's plan, you know, and pausing and breathing and finding that, um, finding like physically in my heart, in my chest, the heart space, like first, you know, physically in my body. Here's my heart. And then breathing all that energy into that heart space and finding me and being here with me right now, and like what is it that I want, and what is it that I am, who am I, and what do I stand for? It's the deeper layers of this three stands. We talk about the three stands in Nurtured Heart, and I'm not going to get into them right now, but for those of you that haven't, you know, read or taken a workshop, the three stands are kind of like the structure of Nurtured Heart, of how Nurtured Heart operates in a functional way. When I come to a place of hearing what my heart wants and who I really am, the clarity. So the third stand is clarity. And the brain starts with clarity. The brain wants to know, but what's the solution? But what's the rule? But what's the answer? But what's the consequence? But what's the punishment? You know, like, well, how are we making this what we want it to be and forcing it to be that way now? Like compliance, let's do this. And when I start with the first two stands instead, where I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of noise. That's a lot of fear. That's a lot of worry. That's a lot of pressure. Like, okay, brain, thank you for looking out for me. You love me. You protect me. You have been here through thick and thin. You are fantastically brilliant. And woo, I just want to pause for a second. Like, let's take all of that right in here and find my heart. Then I breathe into like who I am and what I stand for and what I really want in the world. And then I walk into clarity. Then I walk into my third stand after I've done my inner wealth breathing, after I've found what I stand for. You know, I stand for relationship, or I stand for honesty or authenticity. You know, I stand for vulnerability. I stand for trust. I stand for letting go, surrender, whatever it is that's my truth in that moment. And then I walk into, okay, so then what's next for me? So then where am I going to go with this? How am I going to bring this greatness? How am I going to bring this inner wealth? How am I going to bring me to the table here in a way that honors that, that's aligned with that? That's where I'm leading from. My clarity is entirely different. It is powered from such a deep place, and it is so not forced. It so flows and is so obvious in a way because it's from such a deep place. And it doesn't need talking about permission and stuff like that. It doesn't need any of that because I saw it myself. I felt it myself. I found it in me. So I know. So I feel like even if the clarity is the same, even if I come up at the end of the day with the same next step of whatever I need to do for myself or my children or my work or whatever, when it comes from first stand one and stand two, first resetting myself back into my heart and finding who I am and what I stand for, the clarity it's just entirely different. And it's such a different energy.
And that there was so much of what and everything you just shared. I want to unpack that just a touch. Can I?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, so coming to clarity, you're coming to clarity from that heart space is so different because it's energetically aligned. Like from where I was saying, making a decision out of, that the brain of what do I have to do? I need to figure the answers out. It sometimes has that fear entangled. But when you come from being able to drop into the heart space, it's aligned truly with the love. And when, I almost encourage your listeners here to even just play back what you just shared, because the energy being aligned between us getting caught up in like survival brain of what we have to do and need to do, whether the intention is out of love or not, there's a language matters, and with the approach, language matters. Every word we say has a certain frequency. If everyone plays this back, listen to your cadence. Your cadence when you're talking about the brain stuff. And then you were imagining, I'm guessing talking to your daughter, that's what I'm imagining. You're talking to your daughter, you dropped in. How your body language shifted. You were in heart. And that was at the point, I believe, that you were talking about, wanting to know the answers, but all that matters is that moment. Well, the beauty of the moment is that is the answer. Our brain tells us all that other stuff is the answer. The solution is in the relationship. The solution is in being connected to your own heart so you can connect to someone else's heart. Your brain, I think our brains are probably similar with, like, there's certain parts that like the rules, want to figure things out. That's going to be there. You don't have to hang out there. It's automatically going to show up for you. Like, I tell that to my clients all the time. Don't worry, that's part of you, but you're going to filter it through the lens of your heart. You don't have to focus there. It'll come along with you, because once your success, part of the survival, once your success, let it serve you. But even as you shared more, each time you were talking about the brain process, the speed picked up. You can watch your body shift in a little bit. And then when you were finding your way into your words and what you were feeling, you were being so gracious to, like, really be in the heart space and in an embodied place. And being embodied, we aren't, this is not our center. This is our center. This is our center, that we need to be in our body and embody our experiences and be in that present moment. That's all we have control over. That's all we have control over. So if we can show up fully to the moment and grow in that authenticity of, like, even the wobbles are okay. And to watch someone through, like, wobbles is okay too, because it gives everyone permission that, hey, we're finding our way. There's nothing to hide here. We're human. I really think this is an approach of healing humanity, because it does come with grace and forgiveness and compassion and the field of trust, which you so beautifully pointed out, that trust is everything. And that's us as, nurtured heart warriors, that we walk around, trying to create a field of trust. Even if we might even have our own little voices in the back of our head, doesn't mean that stuff doesn't, for the Buddha, all that stuff suffering doesn't disappear. It's what you do with that energy.
When you're saying the wobble, I'm just thinking about with exercise, whenever I'm asked to balance, and I'm so wobbly, and I have such a hard time with balance, I'm getting better and better, but I'm also very, very pregnant right now, and my balance is very off. But the core growth that happens in the wobble, if you stick with the wobble and you don't just put your foot down to save yourself right away, but you stay in the wobble and you stay in the wobble and you stay in the wobble and you find that spot and you focus on the wall and you try and, and you stay there, you're literally building your core so well. It's such a good exercise, and the permission we give and the space we create for that growth. And you're saying healing, and I'm thinking growth, it's like same, that in the wobble and in the being there and in what's possible.
The wisdom in the wobble.
The wisdom in the wobble. There's so much here. I wish I remembered who said it and how they said it, but I'm going to paraphrase as best as I can. You know, life, something like life isn't blank. I don't remember, but it's a sum of many, many, many moments. So if I'm fully here in this moment and I'm fully here in this moment, I don't need it. Something like I don't need to make sure to make the most of my life, because my life doesn't exist aside for many, 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 many moments. So if I'm here in this moment and I'm taking full advantage of this moment and this moment and this moment, then I have the most beautiful present, making the most of life. So Heather, my dear, if people would like to find you and reach out to you and connect with you and maybe, find out more of what you offer, how can they find you? I guess we didn't really say your title in this episode. So what's your title? Like, what's your professional title, and what do you offer, and how can they find you?
Well, my professional title is I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I feel like a lifetime behavior consultant. And I can be reached at dynamicwisdom.net, and use my contact page there, or my phone number is there also. Dynamicwisdom.net.
Beautiful. I'm so glad that my audience got to hear you, and I'm so grateful for the time that we spent together. Thank you. And maybe we'll get another Heather conversation another time.
It's fun. It's lovely.
Thank you for being here. Hey, wait, don't go yet. Take a minute to find the beautiful quality that you have, that you appreciate about yourself.